doing the intro.
Oh, are you live?
Recording it.
Oh, you didn't say anything. Alright, what's up? I'm Mike. That's Jake. Welcome to the low quality productions.
Or I was gonna say, hello and welcome to DervDerp and Friends Reviews.
Oh,
uh,
alright, that's Bruce. I'm Springsteen.
Once a week, we're gonna watch 3 episodes of an anime and then review it. Sometimes there'll be other people and just the two of us reviewing. We're starting off with Great Teacher Onizuka, episodes 1, 2, and 3.
Hi.
I figured that's the easiest way to do it.
Yeah, no, it works. So episode 1 was super long. I didn't like that.
They introduced us to the very pervy teacher Onizuka
Yeah.
by showing him looking at girls up girls' skirts on an escalator.
Yeah, he was really into that. And a couple guys were like, "Hey, you're a pervert. We're gonna beat you up." Turns out he's a second degree black belt, and he beat them up instead. Showed them a lesson. Then it cuts to him going to like a school,
Going to school as a student teacher.
and his friend, who was there, turns out he was just like, "Oh, hey, I love
Another
getting girls.
perv.
Yeah, I love getting girls. I got so many girls last year, blah blah blah." And he's like, "Oh man, teach me." And I was like, "All right, we're understanding where his priorities are at." And it's trying to basically to get laid because he can't get laid on his own for whatever reason. um, and yeah, no, it was good. He goes into class and turns out they're all a bunch of assholes.
Delinquents.
Yeah, the delinquent assholes, and they're causing a ruckus. And
Then he gets hit on by one of his students that ends up he ends up bringing her to his house where she cooks some takoyaki and starts stripping.
she throws throws herself at him, and then the other students,
Are videotaping the whole thing.
yes, to try to frame him for 1,000,000 yen, which is, I don't know how much money that is in U.S. dollars, probably $1,000,000.
Then the next scene, the same three delinquents try to pick a fight with with a biker gang. And
our hero sweeps in, and he's just like, "Oh, hey, I'm awesome." And then this other gang like recognizes him, and he's some kind of badass hero legend.
biker.
Yeah, and he's part of his own gang, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we're not gonna do anything to these guys. You do something." And so he ends up torturing them by dipping them in water, which is pretty smart for dealing with delinquent children. Yeah, and basically scares them straight. And
then the next scene, we see them praying to him.
Yep, they love him. Turn him around. And then that same chick is like, "Oh, I need help, please." And he's just like, "You're right. You're fucking dick. Like stop." Um,
And after some prodding, he finally goes back to her house.
just to be clear, I did not trust her like at all after that.
And he uh, she
Goes.
has a whole bunch of problems with her parents.
They divorced, and she's sad about that. And she brings him back to her place, and has a bunch of sushi with a note from her mom. She dumps out the food because it means nothing to her. And of course, instead of thinking about pervy things on the way back, driving her, he's thinking about the sushi, and he explains it in detail, and he's just like this tuna,
how it's
fatty tuna.
cooked and
Yeah, this only happens this. You can only get this kind of fish this time of year, and um, it was hilarious how sushi can overwhelm his perviness, which is pretty great. Um,
mainly it's just because he doesn't like to waste food.
yes, turns out I guess he grew up poor or something like that, or with little stuff. Um, and then she drops, and then she tries to kill herself by jumping off the bike because she's like, I can't live with my parents. They're horrible.
And he turns her away again this
Yeah.
time.
And then he goes and rescues her, and
Then he breaks into her house
sledgehammer the wall in her room.
to somehow bring back her family.
Yeah, and it works out for a little bit. The parents are pissed, obviously, and but at least when that was happening, they weren't yelling at each other. So that's the lesson we learned. And at the end of the episode, she was like, "Hey, I'm gonna save myself for you," and he's just like, "Yeah, right." And then she throws her panties at him, like for realsies. It's like, okay, awesome. And then she mentioned like, oh, or he mentioned you're 10 years too late for that, and I was thinking, well, does that mean she's 8? No, that can't be right. She's 16 because they were all 16
Yeah.
in class. But I switched to the Japanese version to see what they were talking about, and she was saying, "I'm saving myself for you," and he, like, "Oh, this you're 10 years too early to be saying that," and I was just like, "Okay."
Because he's 26.
He's 22.
Or then maybe he has a thing for 26-year-olds.
Yeah, I guess he wants to be 32, and that happens. Anyways, that was the first episode.
As a introductory episode, it was actually pretty good. It just the comedy wise.
Yeah, we learned that the pervy teacher who got accused of coming on to students, so he got fired. So ha 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 ha.
Which could have been onizuka if he.
Yeah, if he went down that path, that was showing what would happen. But he decided to be with his students and help them out.
And he, at the end, gets his license to become an actual teacher.
Hmm. Cut to the beginning of the second episode.
He's trying to find a job.
And then he learns his friend says to him, "Hey, aren't you supposed to be taking that test?" He's like, "What test, man? I'm I'm a I'm like a legendary teacher already." He's like, "Pretty sure you have to pass that test to become a teacher." Immediately on the TV, they're like, "Oh yeah, you have to pass this test to become a teacher." He gets all depressed, starts drinking, wants to die. But then he also learns that you can still be hired as a private teacher. So he takes a train, finds this
Private school.
Oh yeah, private school. Sorry. He takes a train, and that guy was on Game of Thrones.
No, Onizuka was not on Game of Thrones.
Oh no, something else. Um, he's on the train. He sees this old guy being a perv to this super hot lady that he's totally attracted to, and
He
punches him
yeah.
and throws him off the train. He's like, "Do you know who I am?" Blah blah blah. Trying to throw that out there. Turns out he is
The vice principal of the school he's trying to get a job at.
Yep. And he doesn't get the job. However, he talks to this lady at the
School store.
school store, and he's saying, "Oh man, I wouldn't call students garbage people, because that's what people did to me, and it makes it that much worse." And then some punk kids want to take revenge on the vice principal, so he goes to like protect him.
And he German suplexes the vice principal.
Yeah, because the vice principal was calling those kids trash and garbage, and he was just like, no, I will not have this happen. So the German suplex happens, and it was great, and he gets hired.
Or there's more to that.
Oh.
Then he assumes that he won't get the job, so then he
Oh.
becomes the great driver, Onizuka.
Yes, he becomes a truck driver, and he gets a phone call in the middle of his route that if he goes to the school by 6 p.m., it's currently 3 p.m., um, that he'll get the job, and he realizes this. And his friend who's telling him this is like, oh, yeah, he can't make it. He's 8 hours away. Oh, but don't worry, he's good at doing the impossible. And so he's like, oh yeah, he'll be here in less than 8. He'll be here in the 3 hours. No worries.
Then,
nine hours later, he makes it, which makes no sense because he's speeding like a speed demon.
Getting the cops on him.
Yeah, and I learned this from Fast and Furious. If you can outrun the cops, they're just not going to deal with you. But he's in a truck, so he can't outrun the cops. So he makes it to the school by midnight, 9 hours later, and the
turns
lady
out
from the store,
bookstore the owner of the bookstore ended up being the principal of the school.
Yep.
And
that
because
was
of
cool.
how he acted saving the vice acted towards the vice principal, she gives him the job.
Yeah.
So basically, lesson learned: German suplex gets you a job.
Yeah. Well, that was part of the.
That was her whole reason.
That was part of the reason. The other reason is that taught his whole garbage speech to her. All I want to do is help the kids. Blah blah blah. Anyways, I think that was on that episode.
Yep.
Then episode 3 is the one we just watched. I totally blanking on the beginning of it.
Oh
yeah, he has to move in
yep.
to the school. He's promised a room, but they give him a storage room on
the roof of the school.
And this tiny little boy helps him moving his stuff, and he has
like he has a bunch of stuff. He has a chair, his bed, and he gives all that to the tiny kid to carry.
So he doesn't want anyone touching his pillow. That is the most important thing in a man's life, is his pillow. Nobody can touch that, obviously. So he has the kid carry all the heavy stuff. And
then he befriends the kid by the power of video games.
Yes, video games conquer all, and you should never, ever, ever doubt people who play video games. That was a lesson that I learned anyways. And then he learns that he's not going to be teaching high schoolers, because that's where all the pretty girls are and mini and short skirts are. He's teaching middle school instead, and it's like the worst. Saying it's like the worst class ever, but he gets there and everybody's like calm and polite, and he's like, oh, there's nothing wrong. And then in the middle of the night,
in the middle of the night, he starts hearing some noises.
And he thinks they're ghosts, obviously. So he puts on all these sticker things. I don't know, I forget what they're called.
Talismans.
Talismans, yeah. Talismans. He has a crown of candles on his head. He has like a thing on his, like a bracelet thing.
Buddha transcripts on his nose. Unless those were regular tattoos, I don't remember seeing them on him.
Whatever it was supposed to ward off ghosts, and he's going around. He finds some guy stealing panties, so he kicks his ass. He finds
through a window.
Yeah, through a window. Forgot to mention that. Then he sees some light, and it goes over, and with his nocturnal vision goggles, night vision goggles. Yes, he catches a couple like fornicating in the locker room, which are not supposed to be in there, and they're like, "Oh, what are you doing here?" He's like, "Oh, it's just me. Sorry to interrupt. Wait a minute, I'm the teacher. You're not supposed to be here." So he throws him in a pool, of course. Cool mom. And then he finds that kid from before
trying to commit suicide.
Yep. Right over the vice principal's new car that he just bought, and this
By
vice
the way,
principal.
we forgot to mention he's at the beginning of the episode. He was basically treating it like a holy relic.
Yeah, he got a brand new car, and he's in love with it. It's 6 stereos and dual rim engine and whatever, I don't know cars, whatever accessories he had. He had a crap ton of accessories, and he was in love with this. And anyways, at night he was just like, he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I can't drive you home, but I'll drive you home tomorrow night. I drank too much." Oh, and
Back to the suicide. Onizuka's trying to tell him it's not worth it. Nothing's worth killing yourself.
and besides, you have to help me with my video game.
And
Well, he
he
didn't say that, but I was thinking that.
eventually makes it to the other side of the where the kid is, and the kid accidentally trips, or Onizuka trips,
Hmm.
but or
Oh, right.
they end up
He does
falling off.
Yep, onto the car, of course,
and destroying it.
And the principal is just staring in disbelief of what happened to his car, and then they cut to the morning, and the principal is still there, staring at his car.
And then,
Pretty great.
then the last scene is showing. We forgot to mention some of the students were photographing the teacher when it first showed the class. But the last shot is showing a black male of Onizuka on a riding horse with syringes stuck up his asshole.
Yep. Basically, they photoshopped him. I suppose this is 99, 2000, so like early Photoshop, where nobody knows what Photoshop is. So that was really messed up to see at the end of the episode. It's kind of like, oh, this teacher just saved this kid's life from committing suicide. He's so great. And then his picture pops up. Oh, the scandal of the year. The new teacher is a huge pervert. And I was like, wow, okay, where did this come from? Like, bruh. Oh, forgot to mention, at the party when the principal was getting drunk, they were like, his new teacher friend was like, "This is the woman who is the teacher of the class." He's like, "Oh my god, he's so hot. She's so hot. Oh my god." And holds up another picture of her like ballooning and eating a bunch of food. Like, this is a picture of her now. And he's like, "Oh my god, what happened to her? Oh my god, she used to be so beautiful. Oh no, oh geez." And so basically, psychological warfare is declared on any teacher who is in charge of this class, and so we're gonna see how he handles it.
Because it then mentions that a couple of teachers before that quit, basically for the same reason.
Yeah. She's in the hospital now. Great.
And that was the first 3 episodes altogether. I'd say it's a good show for the first 3 episodes.
Yeah.
Very outdated.
I'm intrigued.
I don't think a lot of the stuff nowadays would have passed.
I mean, it's not Fallout, but
because I don't think a lot of you don't really see that much perviness in anime anymore nowadays, like to that extent.
I suppose it was the end of the 90s where they could get away with that more. Where it was more for adults rather than switching off to teenagers instead. But, yeah, no, I liked it. It was good. Awesome. Yeah, that was a review of GTO.
Or
teacher.
Great Teacher Onizuka.
Great Teacher Onizuka. It says it right there. Didn't see that.
Next,
He's Bruce. I'm Springsteen. No, that's Tom Grassi. Hashtag Tom Grassi. He's awesome.
We will. Next review episode will be episodes 4, 5, and 6. We will probably upload it by next Tuesday.
Yeah, probably do it
Tuesday or Wednesday.
Once a week is easy. Gives us time to watch it in our own leisure. So.
No idea on upload time yet, but.
Yeah, it's whatever. Nobody's watching anyways.
I get a lot of views. This isn't even a stream.
Your mom doesn't count, Jake. I mean, Bruce.
But
we go by each other's middle names. Yeah, that's it. I'm just kidding.
Please,
I don't know how many. Oh yeah, like, subscribe, or else.
Please like and subscribe. Also, give any anime recommendations, because we will continue past Great Teacher Onizuka. We plan to watch a bunch. We will probably even get to watching regular TV shows.
Yeah.
I know eventually we'll probably do Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe the Dresden Files TV show.
I know you don't like that.
Yeah, but with Matt reviewing it as well.
Yeah. Well, when Matt gets here, he's more articulate.
I think he
would be a better reviewer than us, and he would keep things more flowy.
That's why I kind of even asked him if he wanted to join us for some weeks.
Yeah, that's fine. I think he'll be here next time. So if this doesn't please you, watch the second episode first, then this one to get backstory. It's like a prequel kind of thing.
Bye.
Yeah.